What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don P. We are back here once again, and you already know what time it is. It is time. It is time to say some stuff and to do some things, to talk about some stuff, and you already know what it is. It's Friday, party, 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 fun, fun, fun. Hashtag, if you know, use the hashtag. But one thing is for certain, and three things are for sure when you see me in front of your TV. Number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats and not none of that static. And number three, perhaps the most important number of them all, number three. Want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And you may be asking yourself, how, Don? How, Mr. P, does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's very simple. I'm going to tell you. You know I don't keep information from y'all. Smash like button, subscribe, share with your peoples. And once you've done those three things, and it doesn't matter in which order you've done them in, you have indeed kept your Lions news pragmatic. And speaking of your peoples, when you share this stream with your mothers, your brothers, your fathers, your sisters, your cousins, your mothers, your fathers, your brothers, your sisters, your mothers, your brothers, you name it, you have indeed cared about those people. What is up, though, everybody in the chat? What up, though, Tactical Sport? What up, though, Pierce Sergeant? What up, though, Zach J? Saw, dude. Yeah, Fred Warner. Fred Warner comes out hot. Talking about the Detroit Lions injury situation. Now, I know, and I just remembered to remind myself, we're going to get into that whole contract situation. But we're going to talk about this first. Fred Warner was on the Amon-Ra St. Brown podcast, and Amon-Ra St. Brown still catching. He's still catching shots out here. He's still got to make amends for what he did, talking about the fans not knowing ball. He was right about some of them. Some of us don't know ball. Not us, as in, I say us as fans. You know what I'm saying? But Fred Warner was on there, and it was funny to hear Fred Warner talk about the injury issue. So I'm going to play the excerpt for you from the podcast. But I'm going to play the thing that he said about his team first, just so people won't be like, well, that's crazy. Fred Warner talking about this, that, and dirt. Fred Warner. Right. I'm going to play it first so we can hear both sides of the story. He's not just going to be talking about the Lions. He's talking about the San Francisco 49ers injury history as well. So let's take a listen.
7+ years, and I don't think the substation may have gave me superpowers. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? If you just overdose on it, you get Hulk strength or something. So, but yeah, man, I think they're going to do a little bit more research behind all.
If you don't know what he's talking about, they said that the San Francisco 49ers injuries are caused because there's an electrical substation near where they practice and play. So, yeah, that's the theory that he's talking about.
This offseason, because it did blow up, right? I think people were talking about it a lot. So we'll see what they say.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, the fact that I don't know who even comes up with those thoughts and those ideas, but people think.
I mean, it's because we've had so many injuries, right? Like we have had a bunch of injuries since I've been here, but a lot of it is because like we have an older roster, right? We train harder than a lot of people in the NFL when it comes to how we practice and do all these other little things. So, it's just a combination of all that. And it's football at the end of the day. Like it's 100% injury guarantee rate, right? So, okay, 49er injured stars. Look at that.
I feel like we got hella injuries too. Like the Lions have hella injuries every year too. I'm like, fuck.
Y'all go hard. Dan Campbell be over there telling y'all to bite kneecaps. So at some point,
Wait, so do you guys go full tackle in camp?
No, we would never do that.
See, we going live.
See, and at some point, Dan.
See, now this is the part. I thought every NFL team went full in camp, right? That was surprising to me. I thought he was going to be talking more about, practice. But he came up with training camp. We don't even go to the ground in training camp, that was weird to me. So anyway,
And gonna come to senses, man, and be like, listen, this ain't making nobody better, brother. All right, we can still get our working without bringing guys to the ground.
Yeah, I think, bro. Every time when new players come to our team, they look at me, look at us during practice. They be in the locker room like, y'all practice like this all the time,
dog.
I just be like, yeah, this is all I know, bro. Like,
yeah. I think
that's crazy.
I get the mindset that he's trying to instill in y'all, but because he's obviously saying you can't become better at tackling unless you practice tackling, right? Like I'm sure that's the mindset, but I mean, tackling is about just getting all the way there, wrapping a guy up, thudding the guy up, wrapping him, and then you just only got to do the extra, bring him to the ground, right? And like half the time, guys are just in desperation trying to get somebody on the ground, where you're putting yourself and the person who you're tackling at risk, right? Then that's improper tackling technique. But if you're doing it correctly, you can be in a position where you can tackle and be like, okay, I ain't bring you all the way to the ground, right? So,
yeah. That's facts.
All right, so I've seen some of this in the chat. Fred Warner is not wrong. We've been talking about this for some time. Tactical Sports said he's a fan of full pass some days, but just not on Fridays. I was just gonna say something and I just flashed back to something. It's the shirt for me. Pause. Listen, the thudding situation. You can have the turf situation, turf versus natural grass. I don't know why we've been having that argument and that discussion for as many years as we have. If you're old enough to have gone to the Silver Dome, okay? I've never been to Ford Field. I was in Atlanta when they opened up Ford Field, and then I've been out the country. If you're old enough to have gone to the Silver Dome, you know how terrible that playing surface was. And it wasn't just the carpet. It's the fact that underneath the carpet was concrete. And then in like the early 2000s, they started putting pellets into the turf, and they started making the turf, they call it field turf. And these pellets were like ground up, tires, like car tires. Why has this been going on for so long? Just use grass. Just use grass. It's simple. I know, sod and all this other stuff. But it's not. They're billionaires. Just use grass. What's the issue? But anyway, the tackling from the practice situation. Look, if you go full pads, I would like to think, okay, and I'm going to look this up because I know I want the actual answer. Okay. I asked the question, who is statistically the best tackling defense in the NFL? The answer was, based on 2025 season data, the Cincinnati Bengals and San Francisco 49ers led the NFL in combined tackles. This means that's the most. That doesn't mean that they're the best. Okay? 1,073 for the Bengals, 1,047 for the 49ers. However, regarding elite run stopping, the Cleveland Browns were ranked as the top defensive line, while the Denver Broncos boasted the best run defense allowing only 3.9 per carry. Top tackling defensive units, 2025, highest combined tackles, that's Cincinnati and San Francisco. Best run defense, Denver Broncos, 3.9 yards per carry. Top ranked defensive line, Cleveland Browns per PFF. Top individual tacklers, Jordan Brooks, Miami, led with 183 combined tackles. Okay, now, I'm going to ask you another question because I have a point here. Okay. The Bengals are currently leading the NFL with 109 missed tackles, with the Steelers in second at 81. Okay. That was a point during the season. Okay, let me go to StatMuse. The Chicago Bears. No, missed tackles. Where are my missed tackles? Anyway, that's the point. Okay. Nowhere in there did I see that the Detroit Lions were at the top of the tackling in the NFL. So we know that the Detroit Lions are the top in missed games, not missed tackles, missed games due to injury. There's 94 more missed games due to injury than the second place team. There's been, since Dan Campbell took over in 2021, there's been over 1,000 missed games due to injury with the Detroit Lions. Since Dan Campbell took over in 2021, that is the highest rate among any NFL football team. So with Dan Campbell believing that he needs to do some things differently and we need to look at different things and, there's nothing wrong with the medical staff, at some point, it's a trend, right? Everybody wanted to look at the 15-2 season and say, this couldn't happen again. This was an anomaly. And then we look at 2025 and we go, maybe it's not. And then we look back 30,000-foot view. And as I said, since Brad and Dan have taken over, it's been the most missed games due to injury in the entire NFL league. So Fred Warner saying what he said about, hey, man, you can thud and you can get your work in. And now, is it heaps of people getting injured in practice? No, but you're playing 2 seasons worth of football. You're playing a whole season worth of football in practice because you practice every week and then you go live every day. So whatever little nicks, whatever little stresses that you put on your body in that full padded practice where you're going to the ground, that's going to translate into Sundays, right? Maybe a torn pec. You say, okay, we were going full pads and I felt a little bit of something. If I felt a little bit of something in my pec, but I was like, I shook it off. It was fine. I had full range of motion. This is a slight little bit. I was like, it's a little bit stiff. And then Sunday comes and you tear your pec completely. Why? Because that tear started in practice. Right? So if you're trying to build this callus on your body and you think the only way that you can do it is by fully tackling to the ground, well, at least be the number one tackling football team in the NFL. At least do that. So you're telling me you're the number one injured team, but you're not even the number one tackling team? So the question is, what are we doing? That's my question. I don't know that being gritty comes from practice. If we're looking at people that we bring in here, we're looking at their mindset, we're looking at your mindset, your will should determine your level of grit, not practice. Right? You go all out in a drill that's not to the ground, that's not, you go all out and you give every amount of physicality that you can give in that drill without going to the ground. We don't need to know more. We know you'll go to the ground when it's time. We know you'll make the tackle when it's time. We know you won't give up on a play when it's time. We don't have to see that in practice over and over and over again throughout the season. We don't. So, most of us, well, I can't say most of us. Some of us play football, high school football, playing football from the time you were 9 years old or whatever, like myself. Yeah, full padded practice every day. It was fun. Every practice you wanted to scrimmage. Every practice. Did not matter. Little league, middle school, high school, you wanted to scrimmage during practice. Because you get better at football by playing football. But when you go to the NFL and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, maybe even $1 trillion industry, you need to protect your assets more. Remember the Hard Knocks where Dan Campbell was like, I just want you guys to trust me. That's all. Well, we've trusted you all the way up through to be the most injured team in the NFL since you took over. I think we need to bring it back some. I think we need to tamp it down a bit. I see what y'all guys are saying in the chat. I know there's a bunch of stuff going on in the chat right now. All right. Full pad Fridays and some full pad camp days need to go. Subject Zach J. Fred Warner from the other most injured team is not wrong. But I am a fan of full pad some days, never on a Friday. But our injury situation is fixable. Tactical, exactly. Some, not all, need to go. It gives us our edge. I'd take 30% away in camp. And as Dan said, full pad Fridays need to go. As Don said, sorry. We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice squad players. I thank you, Zach J. Thank you. Because that's another point that I had. I sometimes feel that Dan believes too much, and I've said this before many times, too much in these practice squad players and the next man up mentality. I mean, if the guy goes down in practice, he goes down. I mean, it sucks. We're not going to have this guy this week. We're not going to have this guy. Oh, he's going to be out a while. This one might be a season ender. It's tough. But we got Mallet and Shallot and Hallett and Ballot and Wallet and Fallet and Nallet and Dallet and Callet and Sallet. We got all those guys. And they're expected to step in and do what Kirby does. They're expected to step in and do what Brian does. They're expected to step in and do what Anzo does. They're expected to step in and do what Hutch does. They're expected to step in and do what Aleem McNeil does. Only player I believe that Dan thinks is not replaceable is Jared Goff. But because they won't invest in a backup quarterback, who knows? Maybe they do think that he's replaceable. So I think with what you think about your backups, your practice squad players who practice football professionally because they are professional practice players. What are we talking about? We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. Because you believe so much in those guys, you think, hey, let's go live all the time. It's cool. We got Mallet and Ballot and Shallot and Wallet and Fallet and Nallet and Nallet and Callet and Hallet. We got everybody. The whole legion of whom. We'll have a whole defense of whom. Who cares? Take 1 day a week, full pads away in camp. Take away full pads and tackling in training camp. I'm Break Straw, and I approve this message. Zach, I've said 1 day a week, full pads go away. LOL, I know I just had to take a jab at Break Straw a little bit. Honestly, once the season starts, you should probably move away from hitting, maybe practice in pads. Yeah. yeah. I'd say full pad Wednesdays, Thursdays, 1 full practice day of install, Friday uppers, Saturday walkthrough. I think full pads on Friday is fine too, no hitting. It's the hitting that causes the problem. So if you're in full pad Fridays, hitting is gonna happen. Just stud a little bit. It's young thudder. Yeah, but you can cut that out. You don't have to hit in full pads. You don't have to, but it's hard not to. I'm like, you had me dressing in all these pads. I might as well hit somebody. I'm just getting out there, moving and running. Just getting out there, moving and running around in pads is enough to keep you sharp. That's why I propose just shoulder pads on Fridays. Practicing in just those practices are less physical. Hi. When I played and we had a massive injury problem, most of our practices were in just shoulder pads. Oh, Lord. I don't know where these people come from. It's all right. Whoever you are gone. I mean, it's the off season and you're running around watching other teams' content and you're talking. It's the off season. What are you doing? Talk about having no life and needing to find something to do. What up, though, Mr. Morale 313? Hitting was the best part of playing the game. It was. MCDC was trying to bring back the essence of the traditional way of playing football, but it ain't working for us. I trust MCDC to just agree with whatever Melvin says. That's what he's done since day one. So let's just see what Melvin says. Is Melvin practice or calling the practice? Yeah, but you wanted to scrimmage because you have hopes to make it to the NFL. But once you have made it, you can tone it down a little bit. Facts. Let's not take what Dan says until we hear what his handler Melvin confirms. I really don't think it's all on BH. I think that MCDC has more of a hand in how this team is built than people think. I don't disagree with you there at all. You hugging because you got freaking Broderick Martin. Yeah, you in the war room. I'd have been like, what the what you excited for? Broderick Martin? What is this shit? I can't get jiggy with this shit. What is this shit? You know what I'm saying? Mother sucker. Like, I can't, I don't, nah. I'd be like, Brad, Brad, use your inside voice now. You better use your inside voice before I put you outside. Now go ahead, do your thing. Hashtag if you know, use the hashtag. We got the vet squad. Vet squad. What I'm saying is all MCDC has done since day one is agree with and back up every single word Melvin has said or action he has taken. With that said, Melvin runs this team or Dan is just number one. Don, you coached. How effective were your practices and uppers? Well, when I coached, we were actually like, it was a very rushed situation, so we had to kind of do full pads as quickly as possible because the kids weren't used to playing in pads. It's a whole thing. I'll do a show where I tell you guys the story. And I guess this is a when there's nothing to talk about in the off season, like when we're going between the draft and training camp, when we're doing that, remind me and I'll tell you the story of how it went down. So, but yeah, so most of our stuff was full pads because we had like a month to get everybody ready. Not really interested with what MCDC or Melvin say this offseason. Just a bunch of hot air. Show us with moves, not just lips. Another last place finish in the division. Fire them both. I don't care. I'm with you. I can't get jiggy with this. It's just hilarious. Hold on. My ring light just turned off. Hold on. What the hell? All right. We lost the ring light, boys. We lost it. All right. What up, Herb Gotti? Don't get me wrong, guys. I finally love the Detroit Lions. I genuinely love the Detroit Lions and the city with all my heart, but I'm just done listening to front office personnel speak anymore. We've seen many regimes before them and many after. Facts. I play center, so getting to just uppers Thursday was nice. I feel you. Good thing I got a rest on most defensive install days. Yes. Facts. We don't need to hear words. We need to see actions. Brad Holmes has the biggest target on his head. When the players pick don't pan out, but when you watch those Inside the Den episodes, it sure looks like Dan is doing the convincing. I'm just saying. Again, happy for Broderick Martin, happy for Hendon Hooker, happy for Manu, happy for Tesla. You're complicit. You're happy that these things are going on. And these things went on every year that Brad has been here. So at some point, if you're not happy with it, you need to pull Brad to the side, even if you want to do it behind closed doors, because you're showing all the support while the camera's rolling. Do it behind closed doors and be like, look, man, hey, I'm going to need you to get off that bush. You getting all these practice players, okay? And I've seen the heavies, shout out to the heavies, talking about your third round picks because of the NIL, the crop isn't as good as it is. That's fine because we've got third round picks that we need to use as package, as trade packaging. right? Package this third round pick with some other pick and then go and get this player and that player and the third player, right? So even if they are not as effective in the draft now, they still hold weight in a trade, which is crazy, right? Because if you're saying that the draft, the third round is not as good as it used to be, then people would still stop trading Jaden Phillips for third rounders. They would stop trading Joe Thuney for a third rounder. It still holds weight in the trade game. So we don't use, I mean, we got Carlton Davis for a third. Didn't retain him, but we used one to get him. So I'm just saying. When that happened, my offensive line looked like the Lions' defensive line last year. I had the protection of what was next to me. Yeah, when you just deal with a rash of injuries, I mean, and that's the thing. I don't understand why they don't understand that. It's kind of not rocket science. It's pretty simple. If you don't have the players that you drafted to come in here, not the practice squad guys, the guys you drafted to come in here, if you don't have them, then you're not going to be too successful. I don't know what happened with this. Let me see if it cooled down. No, I feel like it. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right. Nah, it burnt. It overheated, I think. Okay, we'll get it next time. All right, let's get to the contract thing that I said I would talk to y'all about. All right. Tactical, I did fix the numbers. Make sure it pulled in all of the spot track numbers. So that was a good catch by you. Let's see here. All right. Salary cap secrets revealed. Okay. All right. So basically, I was looking at our strategies, and we were talking about. So we came up with something called the Guru Budget Breakdown. Okay. Here's how you spend $75 million without mortgaging the future. Acquisition: Trey Hendrickson, $8 million salary cap hit. Tyler Linderbaum, $6.5 million. Jamel Dean, $5.5 million. Devin Lloyd, $4 million. Okay. So how would you get Trey Hendrickson, Tyler Linderbaum, Jamel Dean, and Devin Lloyd? First of all, would you guys like that haul? I'm pretty sure the answer is a resounding yes. Okay. And what did we have to do to get that in here? Okay. So the black St. Brown's jersey is the new black Air Force One with the energy. All right, here we go. So we want to know how did you get Trey Hendrickson for an $8 million salary cap hit? How'd you get Tyler Linderbaum? Hold on, let me just go let this cat outside. 1 second. Yeah, he's an indoor-outdoor cat, and he's very freaking annoying, bro. You let him outside, and then he comes back to the screen, meowing to get let back in 2 minutes later. It's freaking ridiculous. All right, so how did you get these people under these cap hits? Okay, here it is. The final verdict: by using the signing bonus proration secret on these new arrivals, you've added 4 Pro Bowl caliber starters and still have over $25 million in the bank. This allows you to extend players like Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta next year without blinking. All right, so here is that. To get those incredibly low year one numbers, I use the minimum base plus max proration strategy. Okay. In the NFL, there is a massive difference between cash, what you pay the player, and cap, how you tell the IRS equivalent of the NFL you paid them. Here is the guru math behind those specific structures. Y'all with me so far? All right. So the minimum base salary rule. Every veteran in the NFL has a minimum base salary, usually around 1.1 million to 1.2 million, depending on years of service. You set the year one base salary to the absolute league minimum, since base salary counts 100% against the current year's cap. You want this number as small as possible. Number 2, the void year multiplier. You can only spread a signing bonus over a maximum of 5 years. If you sign a player to a 2 or 3 year deal, you are normally stuck spreading that bonus over just those few years. The strategy: you add dummy or void years to the end of the contract. These are years the player isn't actually under contract to play, but they exist on paper, so you can spread the accounting hit over the full 5-year maximum. All right, y'all with me so far? Okay. If you with me, let me know. If you need some more explaining, I'll do that. All right. The math breakdown. Here is exactly how I calculated those numbers for your shopping list. Trey Hendrickson, the whale. The deal, 3 years, $72 million per year, $24 million APY. Now, that is, I would think that Trey Hendrickson would be higher than that, but let's just say he's not, for the sake of argument. The structure: we give him a $35 million signing bonus and add 2 void years, making it 5 years for accounting. 2026 cap hit calculations: minimum base salary $1 million, signing bonus proration $35 million divided by 5 years equals $7 million. Total 2026 cap hit $8 million. So, like, let's say Trey Hendrickson is not going to get $24 million per year. let's say he's going to get 34 million. Okay. So we would do the same thing. It would just be 5 million, or it would be 10 million more dollars. Right. So if you give him a $45 million cap hit, you take that over 5 years, that's 9 million. So his minimum base salary at 1 million, that would be, you guessed it, $10 million on his salary cap hit for year number 1. Does that make sense to y'all? Yes. Okay. All right. So the total cap hit is 8 million, and I think my numbers of 34 million are kind of more in line with what Trey Hendrickson would get, just because he's older, and you already got people like Aiden Hutchinson at 40, 45 million, Micah Parsons like this. So you would think that he would command top of the market. However, he is 31. So if you're talking about giving him a 2-year deal, maybe not, So so the result is Hendrickson gets 36 million in cash on day 1, but he only cost the team 8 million against the cap this year. In my assessment, he would get 47 million in cash on day 1, and he would only cost 10 million against the team, or against the cap. All right. Tyler Linderbaum, the deal, 4 years, 64 million, 16 million APY. I think he gets closer to 20 million. Okay. And then basically you're doing the same thing. It says the structure, $27.5 million signing bonus plus 1 void year to hit the 5-year spread. The 2026 cap hit calculation, minimum base salary, 1 million. Signing bonus proration, 27.5 million over 5 years equals 5.5 million. So the total cap hit is 6.5 million. So what I would add, I would think it's going to be 8.5 million or 9 million like this, because I think he's going to get more than 16 million a year. But if he doesn't, if he gets around there, then for the cap hits, you can get him for that much. Okay. So are y'all getting this in? I agree, not worth it. You mean Trey Hendrickson? Trey is just a story of a guy who peaked a bit too late in his career and won't get paid because of it. Wish him the best for sure. Yeah, I mean, 17 million sacks. I wish 17 sacks, back-to-back years. Obviously, he didn't get it this past year, because he was injured and he missed however many games. But this is how this is going. Now, here's another thing. All right. So now this is going to be pretty much what they did with Kirby Joseph. Okay, we're going to talk about option bonuses. After doing this so many times, I'm gonna be qualified to teach an NFL salary cap class. If y'all know any universities looking to hire and teach an NFL salary cap class, I'm available. All right. Says to a true salary cap guru, the option bonus is the ultimate pre-planned restructure, while a signing bonus is paid at the moment a contract is signed. Now, did y'all catch that? It says it is the ultimate pre-planned restructure. Pre-planned. That's important, because Kirby Joseph's contract is full of option bonuses. Remember, if you guys were here with me, we went over it completely. Okay. While a signing bonus is paid at the moment a contract is signed, an option bonus is a triggerable payment scheduled for a later year, usually year 2 or 3, that allows a team to keep base salaries at the league minimum for multiple seasons in a row. Remember, I told you guys before, Kirby Joseph has very few, or he has very little base salary. There's not a whole lot of base salary. Okay. Here is how the elite contract drafters use them to vanish massive cap hits. The pre-planned restructure concept. Usually, to clear cap space, a team has to ask a player to restructure their current base salary. An option bonus builds that restructure directly into the original contract. Instead of a $25 million base salary in year 2, the contract specifies a $1.2 million base salary plus a $23.8 million option bonus. If you go and look at Kirby Joseph's contract, there's a lot of that going on, right? This year is a $2 million cap hit. That year is a $5 million cap hit. Why? Option bonuses, okay? The accounting trick, like a signing bonus, an option bonus is prorated over the remaining years of the contract, up to 5 years total. The benefit, by paying the salary as an option bonus, you take a $25 million cap charge and turn it into a $5 million charge for that year. Why option bonuses are guru secrets. Teams like the Eagles and Browns use these because they provide more flexibility than a standard signing bonus. Now you may be like, what? The Browns, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Myles Garrett, remember. Okay, Myles Garrett is getting that money. Deshaun Watson. I haven't looked at his contract. All I know is it's bad. Okay. All right. More flexibility than a standard signing bonus. Delayed debt. You don't have to account for the proration of an option bonus until the year it is actually exercised. This keeps your dead money lower in the early years if you need to trade the player. Yearly mini caps. You can stack option bonuses in consecutive years. Example, an option in 2026 and another in 2027 to keep the player's base salary at the absolute league minimum for 3 straight years. Now, what happens? When does this money come into play? Okay, well, you use option bonuses plus you use void years, and you've kicked this $75 million down the road. Guess what happens? You've kicked it down the road so many times for so many years. Let's say you did it for three straight years. You kicked it down, you kicked it down, you kicked it down. What happened in those 3 years? Salary cap went up. Now, let's say in theory, we know that the salary cap goes up between 10 and 20 million a year, sometimes more. Let's say business is good. Okay. More streaming, Paramount Plus, everybody's trying to get in. We need to get a game over here. We need to get a game over there. So it goes up 20 million each year for those 3 years. Now you have an extra 60 million, right, to play with. And what have you been kicking down the road? $75 million. So now that $75 million that you kicked down the road is absorbed in that 60 million. And you've got 15 million now that you have to deal with. Maybe it's dead money. Maybe it all has to, it triggers a what do they call it? A balloon payment, right? So after you do that, and your balloon payment is no longer 75 million. Now, because you strategically kicked the can down the road, understanding that the salary cap is going to keep going up, you are going to get a balloon payment of $15 million. Much, much easier to deal with. Are y'all with me right now? Let me know you follow. I understand everything. I just don't think that Melvin is going to do any of this. Hate to say it, but I really think we're going to have a pretty underwhelming free agent season. I feel you. Option bonuses, though, are a thing that they are relying on because with all of these Hutch, Kirby, Laporta coming up, Gibbs is coming up, maybe Branch, who knows? Shout out to Pierce Sargent for reminding me that the salary, that the franchise tag is a thing, even if you don't want to do it, or you don't use it. As the Lions, they don't really franchise people. Don, I'll take you over Melvin. That would be awesome. All right. That Lions deal in the background is great. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Oh, that's Ryan's reaction. What up, though, man? Woodward Sports legend Ryan's reaction. I agree. Only way things change is if we lose again, he gets fired. Strikes me as one of those arrogant corporate CEOs who will never admit fault or takes his arrogance with him to the next job. That could happen. I suggest fans go back and watch the 2021 Inside the Den episode 2 and listen. Let's talk about it next show. That will tell you everything you need to know about this regime. Mr. Morale 313, please send it to me in the Discord so that I will remember. Remind me and tell me once you've done it, and I will remind myself to watch it, or to at least listen to it while I'm in the car, because that's what I do. All right, let me finish this up. Hey, if you guys want to get mailbag questions in, get mailbag questions in. As I said, Friday shows are not, Thursday shows, it's Friday for me. Thursday shows for you guys, they got to be tight to the vest. So here we're going to do the math. Imagine you sign a superstar to a 5-year, $100 million deal. Here is the difference between a standard structure and an option bonus structure. Standard structure, high base salaries. Year 1, base salary, $1 million. Year 2, base salary, $20 million. Year 3, base salary, $25 million. Signing bonus proration, year 1, 4 over the 3 years. Total cap hit, year 1, $5 million. Year 2, $24 million. Year 3, $29 million. Cap hell. And these numbers are paltry as to what we're dealing with now. Cap hell is $29 million. No, cap $29 million is awesome. $69 million, like Jared Goff, that would be cap hell. All right, this is the structure for the option bonus strategy. To fix year 2, you replace the $20 million salary with an option bonus. Year 2 logic, $1 million base salary plus $19 million option bonus. The proration, the $19 million is spread over the remaining 4 years, $4.75 million per year. This is exactly what happened with Kirby Joseph. Exactly. Go back and look at his contract. Okay. So base salary, first year, $1 million, signing bonus proration, $4 million, option proration, nothing, total cap, $5 million. Okay. Year 2, $1 million, $4 million, option proration, $4.75 million, cap hit, $9.75 million. Year 3, $1 million, $4 million, option proration, $4.75 million, plus a new option, $14.5 million. Okay, so the result, you just save over $14 million in cap space in year 2 without cutting a single player or losing a single cent of talent. The one big risk is the cap balloon. And remember, I just talked about the balloon payment. The danger of the option bonus is that it creates a compounded proration. By the time you reach year 4 or 5 of the deal, you aren't just paying for that year's talent. You are paying for the ghosts of the options you exercised 3 years ago. If the player's performance drops, the dead money becomes so high that the player is virtually uncuttable. Okay, but again, remember, what this is not taking into account is the fact that the cap raises year after year after year after year. All right. And I think I will put this into the section of the app, which is the whatchamacallit, Salary Cap 101. So I think I'll put that stuff in there too, so that y'all will be able to go over there and look at it. Did you ever go back to Spot Track and find out the cap situation? Yeah, I fixed all of that. Yeah, I shouted you out in the beginning and said I fixed it. So I went back to Spot Track and just screenshotted all of the cap stuff and just fed it into the machine. What up, though? 313 Thug Living. Ron Winarski says this channel is great, makes me want to be a Lions fan. LOL. Okay, well, after Usama bin Johnson leaves, if you want to come on over here, because that's it. That's as good as you're gonna get. We'll accept you. Now K may not, but you know. So WTF? So said something about the Lions injury situation? That was Fred Warner, and you missed it because that was the beginning. Again, Don, I still think Branch gets franchised. He gets tagged. Yes, that's what I said. I said that. I shouted you out for that. He probably is gonna get tagged. Kay said no, Ron. I'm sorry. Motor City Cats is a great channel. Yes, Don does great work. I appreciate you all. All right. I do have to get out of here. Put it in the show topics and Lions chat. I will write myself a note here. Check Discord. Lions Den. All right. I don't think they will tag Branch. He probably will get less money than many think he will. That would be awesome if he did. All right, y'all, I got to go ahead and run. Once again, the Motor City Cats R&D back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And we're out. Peace. We'll see you.